Where the intro music at?
I thought I had it on. I don't know. Don't worry, I can give some. You may not know the cost of the oil in my alabaster
Not
box.
alabaster.
See, I don't know that one. Y'all
And
drink.
I come to pour
I come
my
to
praise
pour.
on him
Yes.
like oil
Yeah, I don't
from
Ha.
know that one.
Mary's
Sorry, girlies.
alabaster box.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, saints in the room. That's the real churchy people, though. That's the Winans family.
I don't know what.
Yes. Good old Cece. I'm
I'm a new
waiting,
girly.
waiting, letting a few more people join in and filter in the room.
We needed
Come,
Cece this week in WNBA
come
Twitter.
We need
on
to wait.
in
What?
the room.
We needed Cece in WNBA Twitter. We needed her worship because I don't know we went to hell this week.
It's all your fault, Dolores.
No, it's not.
Hey, Shay.
What's the word?
Or should I call you Miss Elisa Cunane?
No,
Low.
no, you can call her Carly.
Dee Richards.
Do y'all hate me? What's really good? Like Alyssa Kune, so not only are we gonna sign people, we gonna sign a whole bunch of white women. And I just
It's a, and, what's the nickname they call in DC? Like City of Chocolate or
Chocolate
Chocolate City?
City.
Chocolate City. And it's milk of magnesia. I'm a mute. I'm a mute.
Next time you need some cream with your coffee, I'm your guy. And for you, oh gosh, welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. It is February, January 6th. I mean, wait, it is Tuesday, February 6th, and we are back with another rendition of our Holy Ghost Spaces. And we thank you all for tuning in as usual. And I guess, we're going to go ahead and open up the floor to my amazing panelists of hoops experts up here in Cheryl Swoops Defenders. What has this past week been to you all?
A mess.
YMS.
It'd be all the arguing and the going back and forth for me. You know, I said 2 years ago make everybody look like they in middle school, and I hate middle school. I'm tired of middle
I,
Not
I'm
they
gonna
remind you of your students.
school. Yeah,
I'm gonna take the positive approach because in this side of Twitter we can't say nothing negative. We can't do anything alternative. It has to be sunshine and rainbows. So I would like to believe that this week has been nothing but growing the game. It has been nothing but positive energy and beautiful gowns.
I think it's funny. The biggest thing I think for me is just that it's just clearly just very it's just two sides of Twitter, and it's funny because from day to day certain things happen. This day you okay with that, the next day you're not. Yesterday we were okay with players voicing their opinions and voicing how they feel about something. We do it anytime, but then today when Skylar starts telling her story, telling how she feels, no, now we don't like that. Now we don't like that. So it's just funny to see just how from day to day the tone changes in just a defense of what you want it to be.
I'm crying because y'all told that girl to shut up when it was DT's 40th birthday party or whatever the hell that was. Where she was breaking the record and she was like, I'm ready to talk. And y'all was like, no, not now. It's DT's time. And now ain't shit going on and she still can't talk.
Yeah. So
Talk about that on the back of the bus. Or did she say the back? Or did she
no,
didn't
she, you
specify
you
area?
you said the back,
Not you,
My
Rosa
bad.
Parks, and her.
right? You said that.
Well, We're going to get into some of the games over the past weekend. We're going to get into all of those amazing free agency news. But since last week, I gave this young lady a hard time. I'm going to let her start off with some amazing news for her Juju. Go ahead, Shay, take the floor and tell the good graces of Juju.
Juju, bitch. Hold on.
Oh Lord, I'm scared.
You didn't get pulled over, did you? Well, while we're waiting for Shay to come back, um, Juju basically in LeBerz's low did her big one, and that sparked an amazing conversation around should there be a one and done rule in college basketball. I think the overwhelming response to that is no. Hell no, not yet. Not until there's a better CBA, not until there's more teams, and not until some people decide to hang it up and go home.
Mhm.
So, what were your thoughts on her performance and what that means, what her that type of performance means for her future, as well as USC trending upward?
I think it's really dope to see her doing that. I think she had a lot of promise coming in, and her team is a little woof. But the fact that she keep getting it done and to get it done against a team like Stanford, that's the craziest part. Like it wasn't no scrub team because the girlie said, oh, what she doing scoring 35 against nobody's. Well, she went out there and scored 51 points against the number 4 team in the nation, if I'm correct. Made like I think like we always say one of the best front courts in the country. None of that even mattered because Juju went out there and she just handled business. And I mean, she did have teammates, and it's a team sport, quote unquote. But uh,
Not in that game.
yeah, I'm like no shade to her
What
Not
teammates.
the
in
rest
that
of
one.
the rest of the points was like 14 through the rest of the team or
Yeah, like
something?
I don't want to.
Yeah, it was like 14 or 16. Yeah.
Yeah, like no
In a
shade, but
in a world where we got head coaches telling the entire basketball community that their best player can't be the best player because the best player doesn't have the best players surrounding them, Juju said, fuck all that shit and watch how I put my entire team, my coach, my city, my mama, my aunt, my uncle, the little girl in the stands with the same bun as me on my back and beat the Stanford Cardinals. And that's what the fuck she did.
On
Now,
the road.
on the
On the
road,
road.
oh yeah,
on the
that's
road.
true.
And I
She
And
think,
I
go ahead,
think they
Yana.
said something. I can't remember what the streak was, but they said it's been a while since Stanford has lost at home in the Pac-12. So it's not easy to go into Stanford and beat them and
right,
to do it on your own, basically. And I love the game for her because I feel like lately, especially when people have been throwing her in the conversation for National Player of the Year, like Lo said, it's been the conversation of who she's playing against, even though to me, I feel like she's been playing just as good competition as Iowa and UConn. So that's mind blowing to me. But also, people started picking at her field goal percentage, which wasn't really bad to begin with. I don't really know how her field goal percentage became a discussion because she's shooting it above 40% from the field. But in that game, she was spectacular. I don't even know if she how many shots she missed, but I know it wasn't a lot. Like she shot the leather off the ball in that game. And so I loved it for her because it's just like anytime anyone wants to pick at her, it was just like nope, let me show you what I got. Let me show you what I can do. I am that girl.
I'm so glad I'm
And
back. Sorry, I was working. I'm working. I'm so glad to hear that from you, Yana, after our conversation last week.
I never said she was bad. I never listen, I never said she was
I'm
bad.
just fucking with you. But I
The battle was lost this week, but the war is not over.
I
I
thought you
have
were about to say
nothing
the
for this
battle.
week, but the war is not over.
y'all
Hannah,
said I didn't
go get
lose. I'm
some fucking
pivoting.
seals.
nah, who told Hannah to go look up the Steals record? I was crying.
probably Dari.
Darn. Darn.
That lady is
But
crazy.
nah, Jew do her like it is what it is. It's hoopers and then there's generational hoopers, and Jew is one of them. But no, she's not going to the league. She's staying here where she's supposed to be. Cause y'all didn't want to open up the league for y'all favorite white women. So don't do it now when it's a black girl cooking and y'all want to take her from USC. The answer is no. Go buy a t-shirt, get
And
the magazine, get a bun, leave us alone.
Can I also say, like, this is off topic, but on topic? I feel like we only have these, like, send a player to the league early conversations when it's black players. And I feel like it's related to this, like, white media need to, like, make black players rich instantly. Like, they need to make money because they wouldn't make money otherwise if they weren't, professional players. Like, y'all don't say this shit about, y'all didn't do it for Paige. You barely did it for Caitlyn. Like, and then you want her to go to the league, but you don't think she's able to win National Player of the Year. You don't think, like, if put it, if you think she's that girl and you think she's ready to go pro, let's put her name beside these awards.
That's facts.
So Yana, she was 14 of 26.
It
I
still
can't.
Above,
sounds good to me. That's
Yeah,
above
above,
50%.
that's
above
So
above
50%.
50%.
so I mean, she was phenomenal. And they tried to stop her. Stanford got their own problems, but they tried to stop her. I do think that Stanford could have done a better job of trying to get the ball out of her hands after she done cooked like every single guard on that team possible. But she was
You
phenomenal.
need to get some diversity hires. I'm telling you.
Shit, yeah, pretty much. I don't want to say it, but yeah, yeah.
I I think what we can't lose in this conversation is something Shay brought up is as soon as Juju dropped that 50 ball, white basketball Twitter said, absolutely not. Caitlyn, go save us. Go drop 57. Like Juju couldn't even get 24 hours worth of appreciation from the colored people before they were on a national broadcast talking about, well, Caitlyn can do it. Do it right now. Do it against Maryland, who has no defense or no post players. So like that also just cements just how good Juju is because you've got a true freshman, like a true freshman that is putting up numbers that people only thought were reserved for Caitlin Clark. And what this year is telling me is that call it what you want, say what you want, but the scoring title might be up for grabs by the time Juju is a senior. And all these records that, other people have broken and are breaking, Juju could be just in that conversation off the strength of what she's doing as a black woman at USC. And I think that's extremely dope because, people, for me, it's more impressive what she's doing right now because of who she plays night in and night out. Period.
I had people tweeting me saying, "Well, Caitlyn can do it. Well, tell her get her ass out there and do it. Then I ain't seen the tape. Where is it? Shit, she take 50. She got the greenest light in the history of green lights. Put up 50. Put up 60. Oh, but you can't. Yeah, you haven't done it. So I don't want to hear that shit. Corn Huskers and Dog Abby, stay out of my mentions.
And different stat is Caitlin's team has lost every game. She scored over 45 points. Juju led her team to a win over a top five Stanford team with
Damn,
51 points. So
mic
double
drop.
homicide.
Yikes.
Well, staying out west, UCLA, they I guess, didn't do too well against Stanford, and we don't know what the timetable is again for Lauren Betts. And then now they've also lost Izzy Ansley. I wasn't clear with it wasn't clear if it was like a medical retirement or if she's just stepping away because of the loss of the love of the game or what. I just know that, it was a collab post, so, it seems like, there was an agreement or something there between her and the program, but Izzy Ansley from Australia is also stepping away from the team. So, what do we think about UCLA without Betts? What do you see their future in the Pac-12? Can they still be a competitive team going forward?
I think they being without bets is hard, but I don't think they should have ever looked as bad as they looked the other day. I forgot who they were playing. For one, for two, I know I'm not sure what's going on with Lauren Pets, all of that stuff, but the same conversations people were having around Adia and her issues at Arizona, I would start to ask, well, what's going on? What's this and this? But I don't see the same type of questioning or assumptions. But that's an additive bonus. But yeah, I don't know. They just kind of look like they're falling apart. Like Lauren is a really big piece, but they look they looked really bad the other night. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, I still think that they have the pieces to be competitive and hold on while she's out, but they have to bring better energy than what they've been bringing the last few games. I like their last few games, they've started out really, really bad and then they found a way to win in the end. It's like they kind of turn it on in the second half and they somehow win. And Stanford is not that team you want to get down 15-16 on and then fight your way back into the game. And that's what they were trying to do, and it just didn't happen. But they got to figure out whatever it is. I mean, yeah,
They live or die by the success of Kiki Rice, in my opinion. I
I
think
agree.
this, especially with Betts being out right now. Early on in the season, Kiki Rice was making the outside shots. She was a lot more comfortable in the offense, and her scoring ability opened up a lot of things for charisma. And I think right now in the season, she's kind of going through that sophomore year slump. So I'm interested to see if she can start to round back into form and build confidence. Because I think they're a team without bets. Sweet 16 is their ceiling. With bets, Final Four. But I think if they can find a way to get motivated by the growth of the team through the loss of bets, that could be really impactful for them, because they do have some um, bigs off the bench that are getting minutes now as a result of that injury. So if they can find a way to gain some confidence while she's out, I do think it could help them in the long run if we do so happen to see bets again this season. But I think it all is
Exactly.
predicated upon Kiki Rice gaining some confidence.
All right, elsewhere in the pack. Oh, Lo, you good?
Yes, she'll be back.
Okay. So elsewhere in the Pac-12, we have Oregon State, they're currently seated at third. They had a bye week, so they only played one game last week, and that was against Oregon, and which they won that game. Your girl Beers over there is doing her thing. What do you like from Oregon State?
Fundamental mamas. Fundamental mamas. They Oregon State doesn't beat themselves. You really have to go and play a clean game to take Oregon State down. And I just think they have some really solid pieces. I don't think they have like a X factor or like prolific guard that is going to go make huge plays off of athleticism. But I think as a team, they're really well coached. And I think Beers plays really well for her size. So I'm proud that they have finally like started to round into form and get some wins. Because I've thought they've looked like a solid tournament team all year.
This upcoming weekend is a big week for Utah as well as Stanford. Utah looks to get their lick back against Oregon State. They host them. And then they also have Oregon this weekend. And then Stanford has the Washingtons, both Washington and State. So those could be some tough matchups. As you all have mentioned before, the Pac-12 is going to they're going to feature, or they're going to have all those losses because they're basically just beating up on each other. And so, what do you think Stanford goes this weekend with their two games against Washington and Washington State?
Is it on the road or is it at
On
home?
Yes, they're on the road.
Well,
Hmm. I,
Washington State is without their best player for the rest of the
yeah.
season.
Yes, yeah, that is true.
I think they go undefeated.
yeah, they should handle business.
Now Utah, they host Oregon State and Oregon. You think they handle that 2-0 as well?
I take Beers by 200.
Yeah, I agree. Oregon State, they're in a groove right now. They're feeling good, and I just can't get behind Utah and these no mid range shots. So yeah, it don't work for me.
Okay, okay. We're gonna leave the
Wait,
Pac-12
hold
right
on, B. Can
quick.
I say something
Uh
real
oh.
quick? Because
Hmm.
somebody wrote a comment that said Caitlyn, who dropped 41 points against the best defense in women's college basketball history, can't drop 50
God.
if she wanted. And and here's my issue with that. It's woulda, coulda, shoulda. If it was a split, we'd all be high. Do it or don't. But I don't want to hear no if she wanted to. She don't be out there shooting because she having a good time. She shooting because she trying to score that bitch, right? I thought so. Also, even if she does drop 50, it won't be against the number 4 team in the country in they building with a lottery pick on the team. You know why? Because the Big Ten ain't that damn good.
Well,
Cleared.
and that's that.
Cleared.
People been clearing all this week. Whew. Okay. And so, you know what? I'm gonna take it to the Big Ten. Since we're on the topic, sorry, Shay, I hate to do this. Um, Maryland gave it all that they could against Iowa, but it just wasn't enough. What were some takeaways from
Ain't
that game?
nobody else play
Shout out to
last week in the Big Ten. Goddamn.
shout out to JBT. She did a thing.
Nah, Jakia been hooping lately. Bree is my favorite. I love Bree McDaniel so much. I cannot say enough good things about her. I mean, the Terps played well. Like I thought they was gonna let go of the rope in that first half, but they was hooping. It's just Caitlyn is Caitlyn, and if you double, she can pass. That's the best part of her game to me. Like, yeah, she can score, but when she doubled and tripled, she can see and get the ball where it need to go.
B, let low back up.
Okay.
Maryland did okay. I was afraid that they would let the game get out of hand when it started to look like it in the first half. Um, but they kept fighting their way back into it, and it just felt like they started making mental mistakes every time they got back into the game. Like they take a rush three when it's tied finally or something like that, and that rush three would lead to a leak out, and Iowa would end up going on like a 6-0 run. Then they'd fight their way back into it, and someone would take a quick shot or a dumb shot, and it would lead to a 5-0 run again. So it just felt like they just had those like mental lapses where if they could just stick with what they were doing that got them back into the game, they probably pull that game out. But every time they made a mental lapse, Iowa took advantage of it.
And I think the reason why they made a lot of those mental lapses is because they're not a well conditioned team. I tweeted this during the game, but if you don't have post play, everybody on your team has got to be able to go. You can't play slow or like not be conditioned well when size isn't your friend. And I felt like Maryland would exert a lot of energy to get back in the game and then take a bad shot or miss an open shot or miss an open layup because they simply were tired. And I felt like a big that to me, I felt like that loss isn't necessarily on the team. I just feel like Brenda has not put the team in the best position to win that type of game with the roster that she has constructed. Like every single time she went to the bench, the two players that probably would be considered post adjacent took them out of the game because they couldn't defend and they were out of shape and they couldn't run. And so I was honestly just like disappointed at the conditioning of the team, to be honest. Like, did they show up and compete? Yes. But I expect a lot more from Maryland, to be honest.
I don't know if I've ever seen Maryland be 12-10.
Okay, is this enough? There are other teams in the Big Ten. They're gonna be out. They're gonna be. It is what it is. Brenda probably having a down year. You got to go out there and recruit, or you're gonna keep having the same problems. The starting lineup was fine. Then she had to go to the bench, and that shit fell off a cliff.
Okay.
I do, before we leave that game, I do want to give a little shout out to homegirl with the headband on Iowa. I
Molly.
think yes, Molly. She's just so people say we ain't biased. I do want to give a shout out to her because I think she's taken Iowa's offense to the next level. I think at the beginning of the season, it was really Caitlyn and that's it. And it can be like that sometimes still, but I think they were searching for that second player that's going to step up the way that damn, her name just escaped me. What a little post player name from last year.
Susano,
Susano.
Yes,
Yeah,
Signano.
no,
they're yes, Big Nano. They were looking for somebody to step into being that second person that can help with the scoring, and she's been that person for them.
And she plays with like a little dog in her. Like
Mm-hmm.
she definitely does not get punked in any game, and that's what I really like about her. Like she ain't no hoe. Like
oh, you
you're
talking about
not.
the duct tape headband girl? Not
Yeah,
duct tape. Yeah, gotcha, gotcha. Okay.
no, the one who daddy been sewing the same headband and ain't been washed in all them years.
Yeah, I know that thing. That. Oh Lord. Okay. Sticking in the Big Ten to Ohio State, Miss Cody McMahon and them. They are 10-1, 19-3 overall. They have been finding their groove lately. Last week they got some dubs against Wisconsin and number 10 Indiana. So that's a good win for them. That was a home game, and then up this week they're going to Minnesota and Michigan State. So what do you like that you saw from those games?
Nothing.
Even in the Indiana win?
Nothing. Why? Because Indiana was without their best guard. So no. And you basically almost gave up the game late. I like that's my girls. I'm a ride down for them. I still think they're a top four talented team. But they have no discipline and don't play like a team, in my opinion. And I think they are one of those teams where if you don't know them well right now, they could get knocked out in the tournament early, or they could make a Final Four run. Um, so once they find consistency, I'll be able to speak to that team in terms of like I think they could make a deep tournament run. But I don't think that um I don't think they play cohesively right now, and I don't know whether that's coaching or just like a chemistry issue. Um, but I still think even in wins, you should play a certain type of way at this point in the season, and I still haven't seen them play like a contender.
Yeah, I agree, but I will say I have like the progression of Cody from where she was at the beginning of the season. She's starting to slow down, and you can tell that she's not rushing as much anymore. She's not running people over. And so that has helped Ohio State at like just get better so far this season because she's not making a lot of mistakes that she was making at the beginning of the season. So I think if they, like Dolores said, can find some cohesion on offense and it not just be like one on one all the time, and they're actually like running an offense and working with one another, then they can definitely be a scary team in the tournament.
And I think it's so like for me personally, like the three ball was so important to that team's success last year. And I know they're without Taylor. But I think that there's a guard on the bench, Shoemate. She was huge in their win over Iowa. She didn't play much all game. Coach threw her in when they were down. She drained two back-to-back threes. And I don't know what she does in practice. I don't really know, what the coach likes or dislikes about her game, but I think somebody like her is just so important like if you can instill some confidence in her enough to where in a tournament game late you need some size and some three-point shooting off the bench, maybe if Cody's in foul trouble, get her in the game because the three ball just opens up their offense so much better. Like well, you know what JC can do. Celeste is more of a slasher. Like you know what you're gonna get. But when you have a player that can shoot efficiently from the three on the perimeter with that type of offense, it really just makes them look so much better. So I think if you can get some more out of a player like her, off the bench, I think you and there's another big, she's not really a big, but they play her as a post player off the bench that I love. So I just think, getting confidence in other players on the roster and not relying so heavily on the starters or the six player rotation that they kind of go with.
And going over to the fields of Iowa, we've already mentioned them a little bit during their beatdown of, excuse me, during their win against Maryland. Sorry, Shay. But they also introduced over the past week the Caitlyn Cam. Any thoughts on that? Did you like what you saw? I know.
It was bad.
It stinks. Not like
Not
not the
her.
concept of it. Like the concept, sure. Like I thought,
It was
it brought a
bad.
lot of eyes to the game. The concept was good, but the execution
Awful.
sucked. It was awful. Like you literally was just staring at her the entire time. If she shot the ball, you had no idea if it went in or not. Unless the little like the ticker they had on the side of how many points she had, rebounds and assists, if that changed, then you know it went in. But that's it. Like you couldn't see who she passed the ball to. You barely could see if she was defending anybody. Like you
She
had no
wasn't, more than
idea
likely.
what was going on. It was just you staring at Caitlyn the entire
And
time. That's it.
she would randomly fall sometimes, and you just didn't know what was going on because you could not. It just, in theory, I think it was a really good idea. I know when I was watching it, it was like it was at 3,000, and then in like 5 minutes it went down to 2,000. Probably because it just was like you couldn't see, like you couldn't watch the game like that. I don't know if they could have. What would have been dope, which is you can't do, but if they could do like some GoPro shit and put it on her and you could see through her vision, that would be dope. But it just you couldn't see, like it was bad. It just didn't work.
Put
Like
it in, put it in the
I
contacts or
guess
something, or,
y'all,
or
but
get her some goggles.
I guess for me, like grow the game, yay. This is a nice little feature, but like
Again.
we just barely got the games to be on major network TV. Like, spend that money elsewhere. Like, do something productive with that shit. Like, I don't.
They couldn't have spent no lot of money on that.
But even just like the way they were like, oh, we have the Caitlyn claim cam, don't miss it. Like, oh, like y'all, we barely just got to a separate but equal on the women's side. Please, like, do something else. Shit.
Sigh, good the Lord. Sigh.
Like I mean, we barely like they just Caitlyn was a freshman when they was talking about not having equal NCAA tournament experiences. Like, I don't like that.
Getting a bag
Shit,
full of granola bars and one stick of deodorant.
fuck. Like,
And a little weight.
And a TV dinner.
and some empty goodie bags. Like and uh, it's just okay. Beautiful gowns. I my thing for the rest of the season is that if this is gonna be one of those situations where everything in the basketball world is built to reinforce how white people view Caitlyn, please spare me. Like, I don't care. I'm tired, and this segues into the Cheryl conversation later, but I'm tired already. Like, you can't say nothing about her, you can't criticize, you can't do nothing, put the cam on her, but don't let her play defense. Like, we are just setting this girl up for the biggest drag on this app since Sabrina, if she
Yep,
don't go into WNBA and be the best thing since Cheryl Swoops.
agreed.
So is it win is it win MVP rookie year or bust?
If she don't have a Candace Parker rookie year, I'm a drag. I'm sorry. I'm a drag. Cause don't get up on here and tell me nobody was watching basketball before Caitlyn. All this shit, hoorah, be nice, she's the best, da da da, yee haw shit. And I'm telling you, if she don't drop 20 and 10 as a rookie and put Sabrina on her knees with a crossover and do a euro to lay on Asia, I'm a drag. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, all this hoopla and all this hype, y'all asked for it, so I'ma drag it if she don't clear.
She need to
We're
solve
crossing
world
up
hunger
DQ.
too. Let's really get to it. We gonna set the bar high.
Let her rewrite the CBA, please.
Baby, the fuck?
Sabrina for union president. I
And
mean, not Sabrina, Caitlin. Sorry. So okay, we're gonna leave leave the Big Ten and head on to the ACC, where we have Westmore and his two pick got North Carolina State looking good. So, what do you think about that team so far? And like, is it their conference to lose?
I don't think it's their conference to lose because I really do think the ACC is like wide open, but they do have a really good opportunity to win it. River Baldwin's back now, and they're playing the way we saw them play at the start of the season. They have a big matchup this Thursday versus Virginia Tech. Both of them are pretty much at the top of the leaderboard of the ACC, but Virginia Tech has the head-to-head, so this is a huge one for them. But yeah, I mean they're going to be in the mix to win the ACC regular season for sure this year.
Yeah, I personally like I Low always says eye test. I think eye test wise, I do think NC State is the best team in the conference. And I think they're the best team in the conference by far, to be honest. Virginia Tech beat them in their first matchup on a buzzer beater. But I think NC State is a better team on paper. Not even on paper. I just think like when you see them play, you see a better team. They're more well rounded. They have a deeper rotation. Everybody on the floor can shoot and get a bucket. They're not one dimensional offensively, and they know how to strap up and defend. And I think when you have somebody like Sanaya Rivers playing defense in the conference, it sets you apart because she doesn't play like an ACC defender. And I think same with Madison Hayes. I think she's a great wing player. For me, their biggest weakness, or the one thing that can keep them from winning games is how well River and Mimi play. But like I said in the tweet earlier, like if they hold serve and do, like have a solid average, maybe double digit points, 6 to 7 rebounds, individually, I think that team wins the conference, in a runaway fashion.
Okay, yeah, two big wins this past week over North Carolina and Louisville, so two top 25 wins. Which one of those games were your favorite from the past?
Ooh.
The UNC one was pretty good. The back and forth. That one was pretty good. I thought UNC put up a pretty good fight. And NC State did what they needed to do to finish it off. Louisville wasn't really a good game. NC State kind of took off with it in the beginning, and then they started turning over the ball a lot, and Louisville was fighting their way back in it. But I don't really think Louisville was ever really in that game, to be honest.
Agreed.
In Syracuse, they're still a top four team. Of course, Virginia, like you said, Virginia Tech, they are number one. They are overall records 18-4, and then conference is 9-2. Syracuse this week has Louisville and Georgia Tech both at home. And what do you think they go 1-2? I mean 1-1, 2-0, 0-2.
They come back to what I told y'all asses earlier. They are the Virginia Tech of their conference, and they will shake out in the wash between fifth, sixth, and seventh. I think they lose both games.
Yeah, they're on a little nasty. I don't want to say losing streak because they just won versus Boston College, but they definitely lost some games that they probably should have won versus Virginia Tech and Louisville. Uh, I mean, they're at home, so that should help. They've been playing well at home, but yeah, they haven't really looked good the last couple of games.
I'm a Felicia Leggett Jack believer. 2-0. It's Black History Month.
I like it. Hey,
Wes Brooks is a Coach Wesley is a what's that man name in Virginia Tech? Um
Kenny Brooks.
Kenny Brooks, child. Tell these people names up. Kenny Brooks is a black man too.
No comment.
So Notre Dame, they're like right in the middle of the conference, but not quite middle. They're fifth spot. They're 7-3 in ACC, 17-4 overall. They have Louisville and Florida State both on the road. Do you see them pulling one of those?
yes,
Which
I hate to say it. It pains me. Florida State. I Florida State had they're so up and down, man. I think Notre Dame can definitely win that one. And to be honest, they could low key beat Louisville too. I think Louisville's record in the conference is inflated by the fact that they haven't played a lot of the tougher teams in the conference yet. And this month, they're going to see every team in the top half. And so we're going to see what Louisville is really made of. But I really don't think Louisville's like the top echelon in the ACC. I just think they've played the bottom tier teams.
So what you're saying is we're expecting the big game from Hannah again. She's trying to close in on Juju, right,
Come
for
on,
National Player
Hannah.
of the Year.
Give me 52, baby.
How many steals? How many steals Hannah getting?
What's the record? Somebody said it was 15. We going for 17.
Okay, Hannah, you got.
We gonna need some full court pressure. Let's go.
All right, well, that's the ACC. Save, as always, the best for last. The SEC. This past week, South Carolina faced a very tough game with between Ole Miss, and within the first few minutes of that game, we saw an extreme act of sisterhood. Sisters looking out for sisters, with the wig slip and slide. What were your takeaways from that game?
The
Should have.
referee
And what
bad.
and not what got taken away.
The referees were terrible. Is my takeaway.
Agreed.
They made the first half last an hour. It was so awful. They made it so hard to watch. Everybody was in foul trouble. I cannot. Them refs must have been from the Pac-12. It's no way that them referee. I don't know what they had going on. It was so bad. But then at the end, South Carolina ended up doing what South Carolina does, pulled away. But those referees are bad. They got to do better. That was awful.
Ashlyn Watkins will be a future SEC Player of the Year. Ashlyn Watkins could have a career similar to the likes of Elena Coates at the University of South Carolina. I think she has been the best big on the team the entire season. I think that if she doesn't win SEC Six Woman of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year, it will be a travesty. I think that she is that girl, and there is no denying her impact on the game when she's in the floor. On the floor, her competitive edge, her grit, her rebounding. Um, like she's the type of player like I need her on my team. And I've loved seeing how confidently she stepped into the starting role for this team. And just her willingness to go up against anybody in any matchup at any moment has been extremely, extremely, extremely exciting. On South Carolina side, and I'll go to Ole Miss. I think the three ball is extremely important for the future success of the team. So I would love to see our Pow Pow, Breezy, and others start to knock down the three ball confidently again. And in terms of Ole Miss, Coach Joe's been on us about it, but Marquisha Davis, rest in peace to her wig, is that girl. Like she is a extremely solid guard in the conference. I would say she's top five. And I think she should be first team all SEC. So yeah, I'm excited to see how Ole Miss finishes the conference because Coach Yo said she doesn't want to be fourth anymore. So that means she's got to get some wins um later on in the conference season. So that's my takeaway from that game.
Now, does the SEC awards take the entire season or
Just
just
SEC
conference?
play.
Just
SEC play.
SEC.
Ooh,
If
Ashley,
she's if she's not first team all SEC, Coach Yo needs to go on a rant.
right? No, I'm talking about Ashlyn because if obviously she will more than likely be starting the next couple of games while Camilla's out, and then if she keeps that starting spot instead of Chloe, yeah, that six woman of the year spot is
Well, Dawn
definitely.
already said she'll probably go back to Chloe. I don't know if things change, but she already said when Chloe's healthy, she likes the rotation of Ashlyn being that spark off the bench. But I guess for like South Carolina, I'm just really impressed with their depth pieces and how they've grown throughout the season. I think right now, South Carolina starters are still they definitely show up in the fourth quarter, but sometimes I feel like maybe fatigue might be playing a factor sometimes. And their bench has been amazing for them. Like the growth of Malaysia this season has been phenomenal. And I've said this before, but I hate that people put her in this box of just being this wow player that is always going to give a highlight, because there's so much more to her game than just the highlight plays. Like she's turning into an amazing defender for South Carolina. Like her own ball pressure is crazy. And you couple that with her speed and her quickness, it gives the opposing player like fits when they're bringing the ball up the court and they're trying to start their offense. And offensively, the way she's been able to get to the rim and make deep, like she, the way she blows by defenders, like it's fast too. It's like you think she's in front of you and then she's gone and she's already at the rim. There's just so much to her game that we're starting to see, and I love that for her. uh Dolores kind of already just said everything that I agree with Ashlyn. She's been amazing for them in every way, defensively, offensively, rebounding, block shots, just everything. And then the growth of Sanaya. Sanaya has been coming into her own. Defensively, she's been doing what she's been asked of, and that's why we're seeing her, get more minutes. And I think she's been doing a really good job offensively too. So that's been huge. And for Ole Miss, they're still, regardless of what that score showed, they're still one of the best defenses in the conference and probably in the country. And I think that although South Carolina like struggled in the first half, and a lot of that was the refs too, Ole Miss deserves a lot of credit for that, because their long guards on the perimeter made things so tough for South Carolina guards to get going. And so credit to them.
Now, going forward over the next two games, they will face some pretty interesting competition in Mizzou as well as UConn. And both of these games are home, but they will be without Camilla. I know people are going to say, oh, well, that's Mizzou. Nobody really pays attention to Mizzou. Even though they are 11-11 currently, it's South Carolina always has an interesting challenge when playing that particular team. And then when you lose your anchor in the middle, that could present other challenges. So, what do you think will be some
Is Haley
keys?
Frank playing? Because she didn't play last game with a foot injury. Is she
I
playing?
She's
think,
playing.
yeah,
Okay.
she's
She's
playing. I
playing.
saw that she'll be playing. You know she's gonna be good for this game. So, what do you see as some potential like necessities, or I guess an X factor of sorts that
I,
South Carolina will need to have for
They
these
just need to
games?
play that game. I don't even really think
yeah,
it's nothing to it. They just
me
need to
either.
hoop. I think the guards are gonna have to wake up. They've been sleepwalking, in my opinion. Well, not Raven. Let me take that back. Raven has been definitely. She's a leader. She gets it done. She puts everybody in the right places. But I think Powell and Breeze, they've been a little absent the last couple of games. They just got to lock in. But if they play that game, they should be fine. Like they should be fine. I don't think they
And
need to do anything extra. Just do them. Do them.
to be honest, in that Mizzou game that they played the last time, Camilla got in foul trouble. So they've, like, she played around, maybe, I want to say 20 minutes in that game, but the moments where she was in the game was more so towards the end of the game, because she was in foul trouble a lot that game. And the lineups that worked, honestly, was Ashlyn and Fagan. Like, Ashlyn and Fagan was the lineup that really, like, stretched the lead on top of Breezy knocking down all those threes. But defensively, Ashlyn and Fagan were the ones that kind of, like, closed up on Haley and made her shots a little bit more difficult, and that's how South Carolina was able to stretch the lead. So I think if they look back to that game and they build off of that, they should be fine going into this.
Yeah, I think to Lowe's point, I really don't like this. I'm honestly not worried, and typically I do get a little nervous before Mizzou, but I think um all the team needs to see themselves without Camilla, and I think Camilla needs to see herself without the team for everyone's benefit. I think if any two players I'm looking at to really, play well, or I want to see play well, I think Chloe has to find like the happy balance between LSU Chloe and whatever she's been doing these last few games. Because I think that's kind of where she wants to be, like, as a base player. Like, if she goes off, she goes off, but you can't play like you played in the first Mizzou game. Um, so I need a happy balance between that and LSU. And then I think Pow Pow. I think at some point the SEC guards do catch up with you. And I think she's just kind of gotten to that space right now where sometimes when her three ball's not falling, she drives too deep or presses a little too much or tries to make the perfect pass. So I just want to see her kind of calm down um, and find her floor and just play at her pace and not get so frazzled by if her shot is falling or not. Because as we all know, when she starts stroking it, you cannot stop her. So just calm down, let the game come to her a little bit more. I'm gonna try to get some offense off her defense.
She started doing well driving to the basket though in this last game. She started saying,
Yes,
"Well, fuck it,
yes.
my shot not falling, so I'm gonna go." I also think this team even without Camilla can be really good. It looks a little different. I think Camilla is really agile and fast, of course, but I think it could be even faster. Um, so I'm interested. I'm excited.
Okay.
And I feel like we might see a little 4 out 1 in. Like it's been a while since South Carolina had the last time South Carolina didn't have a big that they relied on and had to go 4 out 1 in. Some crazy shit happened that year. That's all I'm saying. But
Is that
I,
the forgotten year?
no,
We won
the
a
year,
championship.
the first
That is
championship.
the Asia
Oh,
Wilson's 20
yes,
rebound
yes, yes,
performance.
yes, yes. 4-1, Doug. Yes, yes.
But
Dribble
we
drive
saw it
Don.
right. We
Lock
saw
that
it in
girl down and
the
sit her on the bench for the whole second half. Thank you, Bianca.
But we saw it in the Ole Miss game when Camilla got in foul trouble, and even Ashlyn and Sanaya felt like everybody got in foul trouble. But they ended up going 4 out 1 in and had Malaysia, sometimes Tessa, Bree, Raven, Pow Pow, a mixture of those four in the game with one post player, and it worked well for them. They were able to kind of stretch the lead towards the end of the second quarter with that unit on the floor. So
And
Okay.
as much someone was just talking about like why are so many college teams having to do like walk-ons or do these open tryouts with injury is because of the transfer portal and wanting to kind of save space for transfers. But I think the smaller roster for South Carolina is going to end up paying dividends in 2 or 3 years. Like, they may win the championship this year, blah, 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 blah. But Malaysia and Tessa being able to play so much, and even Ja as true freshmen for a program that typically doesn't play true freshmen like that, that's invaluable. Like truly, and especially for Tessa, I think. So I'm excited to see what the team looks like without um Camilla for these next 2 games, even for UConn, because I think it'll be a different type of pressure, but a needed type of pressure.
Sorry, yo yo. Okay, but um, going to the second place team in the SEC. Shout out to Rakia. She just notched her 2,000th point as a collegiate player. So congrats to her. They're currently second place. They're on the road at Alabama, and then they face Arkansas. So I know at the beginning of the season, this looked like a team that may, have found themselves on the outside looking in regards to the SEC standings or the top of the SEC as well as the NCAA tournament. But they've been over the past about 8 or something games, they're about 6-2, or past 10 games, they're 8-2. So, what do you like from Tennessee that you've seen so far? What changed for them? And is it Kelly's coaching? Is it Rakia putting the team on her back, Rakia and Tamari, or what? Like, what do you think from the Lady Vows?
Jewel has done better. I'm torn though. I'm happy they're doing good because I like the Tennessee girls. I'm not happy they're doing okay because that gives Kelly another pass, and she's just really not the coach for that program. She's not. She's just not. Um, so I hate that, but I am happy for them. I think Jewel has kind of found her rhythm, and Rakia, of course, is Rakia. Tamari, but I know Tamari started like one of the last games. I think just her presence helps, just like we say with Camilla, like 6'7", 6'8", regardless is an advantage. So I do think that helps a lot. I still wish they had a different point guard, but whatevs.
Yeah, it's definitely not coaching. I think to Lowe's point, Joe Spear getting comfortable, scoring and against the SEC, is big for them. Um, but I will say I don't think like the SEC is not deep this year, so they haven't played South Carolina, they haven't played LSU. So them getting these wins are kind of necessary. Because if not, I do think they could potentially find themselves on the outside looking in the tournament. But I'm more so interested to see how they do look against South Carolina and LSU, um, to round out the rest of the conference slate. Because that's going to tell me like if they're actually like learning from their losses earlier in the season, or if they were just winning games that they should have won.
So their last six games, after this weekend, Arkansas, South Carolina twice, A&M, LSU, and Vandy. They're at Vanderbilt. They have to play at at South Carolina. They do host LSU, A&M, and Arkansas. So that is,
Tough,
yeah.
tough.
Yeah, whoever made that schedule hates them, apparently. Yeah.
Okay, and then for LSU, they have Vandy in Alabama this week. They are at Vandy. Do you think that that could be a game that Vandy wins, or do you think that LSU overpowers
No,
them?
No. Vandy's kind of been on a downslide lately. I mean, they can try, to light things up. Like all it takes really is if they have a nice crowd and they vibe off of the crowd and they knock some shots down. Wait, is this game at LSU or is it at Vandy?
It's at
it's
Vandy.
at Vandy.
Okay, so if they get a nice crowd and they can start knocking down some outside shots, they could make it interesting. But with the way they've been looking lately, I just don't know.
I mean, they did put up 106 on Florida.
Uh, oh, you mean
Hmm.
LSU did? Well, LSU did, yeah. That's
Oh wait,
why.
yes, that's LSU. My bad. You're right. My bad. Okay.
Yeah, I think Vandy can hold serve from the guard spot, but I don't think they have enough post depth to do anything with LSU. I think Anissa or Angel could go for 20 and 20 easily against Vandy, and that's no slight on Vandy's post play because I do think they have a solid big down there. But the
And that
players that
freshman.
the players that they end up having play in that position can't like when Pasai or Macarat gets switched down into the post, they are cooked. So yeah, I think LSU wins by double digits.
Okay. Well, that's the college roundup, and now on to the WNBA. Now, this is free agency period. We've seen some, we hit a little quiet period for a few days, and then all of a sudden, today and the days before, we've seen some amazing, depending on who you ask, some big trades go down. So, what's been the most surprising piece of free agency news that you all think has dropped over the past few days? Because we're only 6 days into it fully of actually deals being confirmed or being official.
Ka, of course. I don't think nothing topping that.
Surprising
Ka.
was yeah, what's the most surprising? Um, I knew the WNBA front offices were incompetent, but I did not know WNBA front offices were negligent and stupid and damn right piss poor at their jobs. So that would probably be the most surprising part of WNBA free agency.
Okay, so we're going to play a game. We're going to, let's see, and for the teachers out there, shout out to Lowell. We're going to
Don't
give you,
shout me out in that.
okay. For the other teachers out there, wait, what was y'all grading? Was y'all still giving letters or numbers?
Dad, you can't fail them kids. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so no child left behind. So who walks away with an A plus, an A? And we're going to be nice, so we're going to only stop at a C, unless absolutely
Hell
necessary to
no, the
give an
Chicago
F.
Sky have
No.
failed. And the Indiana Fever are now on the grading scale, and the LA Sparks should be held back next year. So no.
So we got a few incompletes. So So, who do you think has an A and why? And what was the best thing? I guess, like, talk about their trades of the teams that you think have gotten an A, if any.
I'm going to start, and I'm going to go with the team that I feel like people are underrating again, which is weird, but Connecticut. I think Connecticut did what they needed to do this offseason. You got Bree Jones back, you got Bonner to sign back. The trade with Beck Allen, that was
Not it.
shocking, but I think, being able to get Tiffany Mitchell, who to me does pretty much everything that Tip Hayes does. You got a backup point guard, or you have two point guards now, whichever one's going to be backup. Better not be Ty, but you got two point guards now. And then hopefully Stephanie White has grown in her trust with Dejanay Carrington, because I think she can be a good piece for them as well. I think they did a really good job this offseason.
So who? Okay, so you're giving them an A.
Yes.
I'd give them an A, yeah.
Okay. Now, is there any free agent out there, or is there another player that you would love to see them get to really make that A and A plus?
Um,
If,
hmm.
if
Maybe
they
a,
can
a
find a way to
three.
draft Rakia, yes, they would get an A+.
What do they have? Where are they? I'm pretty sure it's the lower first round, right?
Unless they've traded it away. Wait. Hold up. The 19th, they gave away. Wait, they get a 19th pick from Minnesota. I don't know. I would have I gotta go do some more research, but I if they could find a way to trade somebody like a Stu, um, or find a way to just get better draft positioning, I would like to see them go after like an elite three in the like.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I forgot they
Looks
signed
like
the
they
Tim
have
Duke.
the 10th pick. They have the first round 10th pick.
Okay, first round 10th pick. So that puts you in the range of the who would be there?
So maybe I mean, and they could also now this would be a hot take. I don't know if she would still be available, but a Peely could be really dope.
And
Yeah,
then be able to learn from Alyssa.
Mm-hmm. Because I mean, you got Dewana who technically can play the three. But I was just thinking more in terms of like,
The
if they were,
BBW.
yeah. But I think Peely could be really dope there.
yeah, she could be. They can be the team of punching people, like just punching holes in people's chests, running through people. Shit. You got AT coming down, and you got Peely on
Breach.
the wing, knocking your ass down. Shit.
I mean, there's a lot of BBWs on one team, and they could definitely be physical. So I like that. So now, who would you all give a B? Or is there a team that's not there yet and they have an A minus?
I think Atlanta has an A
Yeah,
Okay.
easily.
yeah, for sure. I think they did everything they needed to do this all. They fixed every issue that they had from last year that we've screamed about. They got better point guard play, and they got a big to go along with Cheyenne, so that she's not the only one down there banging by herself the entire game. They did exactly what they
And
needed to
more
do.
scoring, and another person that can come and score too with AP.
Right.
And Tanisha owes me an apology, and I will accept it whenever she would like to provide it. But I would deserve my apology
Can
for
she send you a
something.
jersey too, like Deja?
Yes, she can send me a jersey, and I will accept the apology. Thank you.
Okay, for
We
everyone
gonna
who may not be aware.
send you a New York and Company fee.
That's fine. That's fine.
For everyone who may not be aware of them, I'm gonna pause right quick of the moves while we're giving the grades. Here's just a quick recap. So Atlanta, they sent Airy to LA, along with the eighth pick in exchange for Jordan Canada and the 12th pick. They've since signed Tina Charles, Ariel Powers, and re-signed Nia Coffey. Chicago, everybody gone. Kaz gone. Morgan's gone. They've received Michaela Onyenwere, Brianna Turner, the third pick, and three future picks. They've signed Lindsey Allen and brought back Diamond Shields, and they've renounced the rights to a Studu Fall, who has now since signed with Connecticut. Um, Going on to the Sun, they've traded Natisha for Tiffany Mitchell, and then they got the 19th pick Beck Allen was traded in exchange for Mariah Jefferson, giving them another point guard and a veteran point guard too. And they've signed Rachel Banham, Astu, Brianna Jones, and Dewana Bonner. I forgot Rachel Banham is back where it all started for them. Dallas has signed Kalani Brown, Satu Sabali, and they have activated and signed Stephanie Suarez. Indiana has signed Katie Lou Samuelson and gave her a lot of money. And Damiris Duntis in Las Vegas has signed Pancakes Mama, re-signed both Sydney and Kia. LA has sent a 2026 first round pick to Seattle in exchange for Kia Nurse and this year's fourth pick. To me, it sounds like Seattle just really wanted to go ahead and get rid of Kia Nurse, and then, as mentioned before, they sent Jordan Canada to the Dream for Aerie, and they've also re-signed Lasia Clarendon, Ray Burrell, Monique Billings, and extended the contract of Lexi, who we all know was having a very well possible most improved campaign last year before having to miss the majority of the rest of the season. Very well could have been an All-Star too. Who knows? Minnesota already mentioned the trade of Tiffany Mitchell and Atisha Heidemann, but they've also since added Courtney Williams, re-signed Bridget Carlton. They've received Alana Smith, and Jessica Shepard will miss this season due to prioritization. So they definitely needed some big bodies. That's going to be a big void for them to fill, because we know Jess was a very versatile player in terms of facilitating as well as her scoring. New York, they signed Stewie and JJ. Phoenix has Natasha Cloud. They also get Beck Allen. They also, who else is there? They've received Kahleah Copper and Morgan as well. And yeah, Phoenix is looking like an interesting team. All eyes are on to see whatever BG does, if she resigns or if she decides to go on to pastures elsewhere. Seattle, they're a new super team. In the words of Asia Wilson, let's talk about them for super team. To some, let's talk about them. In being a competitor or a contender for a WNBA Finals, they have signed Skylar Diggins-Smith, who let the air out earlier today, as well as Neka Ogumake. No word on if Shanae will be following her big sister to Seattle. And Washington has signed Carly Samuelson and some other people that Shay really doesn't want to have on her team in Chocolate City. So now, remaining free agents. These are some of the bigger names. EDD. We still want to know what she does. She has been cored by Washington, so we want to know if they're going to find a trade for her. Where are some potential landing spots for her, or if she decides to basically, as she's done before, force her way out of Chicago. Maybe she decides to sit out and miss this season if they can't find a deal for her. Odyssey Sims, Shea Petty, D Rob, Stephanie Dolson, and Tiana Hawkins are some valuable veterans who have yet to find themselves at home. So now going back, we gave Atlanta an A. Now we're going down to the next tier, C.
Dang, wait, we can't give everybody else an A.
Oh, okay. Any more A's?
I feel like Seattle gets an A. They pulled in Skylar. Um, Necker not my fave, but good pickup. So that's an A. You don't think?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Super team.
I think I
I
I
mean,
think
so far, Phoenix is. I don't. I just.
yeah,
Would
gotta
you
give
say they
Phoenix
need
Phoenix
an
to
is
A.
investigate it
crushing
for
it, you
circumventing?
guys. Phoenix is crushing it. I guess Phoenix can get one too.
Yeah, Phoenix get an A.
We need to find out where Phoenix is getting his money from. That's what I heard people saying.
Yana gonna hit them with a
I was about to
laundering
say Yana.
charge.
Listen, I'm trying to figure it out myself because I'm like, hold on now, like that's a lot of money y'all just throwing around, and y'all
They
ain't
probably
even
got
signed BG yet. Y'all still
Toyota
gotta
Phoenix.
fill some roster spots. Like y'all running out of money, or am I tripping?
Don't worry. The Footprint Center got Toyota Phoenix on lock, and so that's where their money will be coming from. But what else do you see them? Do you see them making any other additions? Could EDD go there? Do they have
Oh
enough to afford
God,
her?
no! I hope
I
not.
don't
Cause
think
how
they
you
have
gonna
enough
get
money for
there?
EDD. One, they don't have anything to trade unless they're gonna trade like Sophie. Um,
Oh God!
Please,
Imagine,
oh my.
imagine the Mystics getting Sophie. I pray for Shay.
But like outside of that, they don't really have, and like they would have to trade off some of that cap space. Well, some they would have to trade off at least a player with the amount of money that they've already spent, and then on top of that, they still have to sign BG. And so, unless BG plans on taking like a massive pay cut, I don't think the EDD trade is gonna come through. And if it does, I need the FBI to get on a Zoom and figure out what fuck Phoenix got going on over there. Cause
They get money from the girl dad charity.
the way they've been hooting and hollering about Vegas and they cap, and Vegas players at least took a pay cut. Shit.
I'm screaming. These players get on social media every other day, and halfway through the season was telling us how much they didn't like a certain player, telling us how shitty Phoenix was as an organization, telling us that they support pregnant women and that any player that plays for a team that doesn't support pregnant women should retire. And then I turn my eyes, squint them real hard, and look down in the desert. And these folks down here begging to play with a girl dad and a president with former allegations of sexual assault. So nasty. So rude.
Cheers to the girls' weekend.
And that's on y'all because guess what? When it's June and July, I don't want to see no tweets. I don't want to hear no, oh my gosh, they treat me bad. What happened? I don't want to hear that shit. If you chose to go down there, you made your bed, you lie in it in that hot ass desert next to the bag of bones that is Diana Taurasi.
I I I do think Phoenix is a potential like top four team. But they've got to get a four. Like I think Kaw's great there. I think Cloud will be solid there. DT cannot play a full season. I don't care what she says. Um, and let's be completely honest. Phoenix had
She's
a
old.
chance at winning the title 2 years ago because of Brianna Turner. And had she given any more in the offseason on her offensive game and spent less time being captain police, um, and captain what about the white folks on social media, she might have helped them win a title. Um, but
You
she's
don't
not
think
there anymore.
Morgan can fill that spot?
No.
Okay.
Because I like the one thing you have to be able to do against BG is have a four that forces her to play, help. And as we talk about all the time, I think the four
Got it.
position is the best position in the league. And all the other top teams have somebody that can at least like make BG uncomfortable. Morgan is about to be put on an island.
Mm.
And they gave away their draft pick, so
Bingo.
interesting to see what they're gonna do.
Who out there could solve any of the hole or close any of the gaps that they have?
If they have the money for a good four, then to Giannis' point, somebody needs to be investigated. So
I
otherwise,
mean,
they gonna
maybe
have to,
Dolson. That's
huh?
true. Maybe Dolson. She's available, I guess. I don't know how much money she's asking for, but if she'll take like a vet minimum, like
Ooh,
72K range,
Hawkins.
maybe her. I mean, Hawkins could. She's available too. She's a free agent.
That's a good one.
Wait, how much you say for Dalton? 72?
I think the vet minimum's like 70, whatever Sydney Colson be taking. Like it's like 74, 76, or something like that. Like not too much to like have the organization struggling, but you have to get paid a certain amount. Can't remember what it is.
So you're saying restructure DT's contract?
No, they get to sit in that stupid ass contract that they gave her. They don't ain't no restructuring.
Okay. So the panel has given Phoenix an A. All right, now we're gonna go to a B. Who's that? If anyone.
Ooh.
Um, I could say like if I squint my eyes and like do some math side to side, I feel like Vegas gets a B off the strength of the Gustafson trade because I feel like she kind of fits a perfect need. Well, not a trade, but the Gustafson signing. She fills that void, and I think she does what Ozzy could do, but I think she does it at a rate that Becky trust. So I think she'll be able to eat up some minutes, which I think is very important. I think re-signing Kia was huge because she is now become a cornerstone of that franchise. And I think as much as people get on Twitter and be like, they don't need Sydney, they don't need Sydney. If you watch the championship win last season and don't see why Sydney Colson's on that team, I don't think you know basketball, to be quite honest. This is a franchise where they don't need every player on the roster to play minutes like some of your teams do. Sydney Colson is a locker room piece, but she's also a solid WNBA vet. And I think her coach knows that, her teammates know that, and they trust her in that role. So I would give them a B. They didn't do anything flashy, but they did get a player that they needed to get. And I also think Dallas would get a B as well for keeping Kalani.
And so, of course, people are still waiting to see what Candace does if she comes back. I feel like she'll be back. What about you all?
I think so too. Unless she just don't play no more, because where would she go?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think either Vegas or retirement.
you can't go off like that.
Right,
She gonna go off playing.
right. I feel like, yeah. Okay. And so you said Dallas get a B for bringing back Kalani. They've
Wait,
also
the
brought.
Aces. Oh, sorry, B, but
No,
the
go ahead.
Aces to get a. If they add my bad back and beyond, they gonna get an A from me.
Are you getting the A because you feel like that's a great move, or you just want her off your books?
Wow. It's it's good for me because I get to get in the back of the Aces bandwagon with the Candace and the ladies that lust over Sid Colson. I could sit back there with them and have a good time. But that means she ain't going to Phoenix.
True. Right. And I feel like locker room pieces are really what the Aces are focusing on, like who can come in and not disturb their chemistry. And
And
Elena
that's
don't talk.
important. Like that's important. Like we've seen what a messed up locker room can do to an
Who Yana? Call
organization.
them. Name them.
No, I'm not gonna do that. Why would you? But we've seen what it's like for players not to get along, yell at each other on the sideline, come to Twitter and tell us all their problems, you know? And so you definitely want to make sure everybody on the team like each other. Unless, we'll just have to go to KP's tweet or a comment that basically said they don't like each other like that, man. Like,
Speaking of KP, she ain't had to do Asia like that today.
That shit was hilarious.
Y'all, can I say? Oh,
Go
never
Go
ahead.
mind.
ahead.
The Can I just give props to Asia stylist?
You're such a whore.
Shout
I'm
out
trying to
Amadi.
say it respectfully, but it's the look is giving first lady. It is. It look. I'm gonna just shut up. She looked nice. Okay.
Asia Adebayo.
I thought you about to say autobiography and then wait.
AA.
Are
Called
we?
it. Double A.
Are we gonna read the book out loud together? Since some people needed the audio.
I
Yes.
got
Yes.
Wow.
mine. Come on.
Yes.
Surely
Yes.
they are. Believe them.
And I started reading today. It's good, y'all. I love it.
Brittany, are you crazy?
I am the hope of the free, the land of the hell. You don't have a license to call me by my first name, my dear. Okay. All right. Rest in peace, Maya. We love you. Okay, so
Oh my god.
uh, but dang. Asia, wow. Okay, so we're gonna touch on Dallas a little bit. They did bring Kalani back, and with a Watt sitting out this year, they have Big T. They have Natasha Howard, and then they were able to re-sign Satu. So, is there anything that you all? And then, damn, they got a lot of bigs, especially with Stephanie.
Too many bigs.
And
Well,
then, where does
not too many
Maddie?
bigs. Too many centers. They have too many centers. I don't think in the W with a 12-man roster you need three centers. It doesn't make sense.
Hmm. So it's gonna be some moves because they got to have guards somewhere. You got to have somebody who can get up and down. So who? What would you like to see them do? In because there's Crystal, there's Enrique, there's Veronica, there's Maddie Segrist, there is who else is on that team?
I think that's everyone, right? Oh, Lou, I guess they haven't signed her yet. She was injured, but Lou from UConn from last year.
Mm.
I still think they need a three. I think Satu to me is better suited at the four, but with Diamond being injured last year, they moved Satu to the three, and I think sometimes last year they were missing that big splashing guard. So I still think if they can find one, that they should maybe look at getting like a slashing type guard.
Anybody comes to mind?
Ooh.
Or maybe or
Um.
maybe in the draft.
Ooh.
I'm about to say somebody, but I don't want y'all to cuss me. Rakia.
I don't want that just for her mental health, but I could see the vision.
I don't know if I'm gonna send any rookies there, man. Dallas is not the place for rookies.
And they haven't been for hell since 2018, to be honest. 2019. Okay. So that leaves us with I'm gonna just lump all these together. Indiana, LA,
F,
Minnesota,
F,
Chicago,
C,
New
F,
York,
C,
um, and Washington.
F.
Hmm. So why do you give them
Minus.
the why are those teams the Fs?
This is a professional sports league. That's really all I can say. Like, they, they- their front offices should not have jobs.
So does this come back to evaluating talent,
More than that,
I think it's
being
more
able to
than that.
manage your books?
yes. What you say, love?
I was about to say I don't think it's just picking talent. I do think that's an issue as well, but I don't think it's just that. It's the accounting and the balancing the books and
Mhm.
stuff. I don't know what these people be doing. It's like they almost. It's like maybe they don't want to hurt nobody's feelings and offer them like low because it might hurt their feelings or their ego. But you gotta. I don't know, child. I don't know what these people be doing.
I love player empowerment. Yay, whoop de whoop, CBA, ha 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 ha. But part of player empowerment is being real with those
Mhm.
players. You do not, under no circumstance, pay a player with no accolades, no like. Didn't Diamond just sign with Chicago for like 100K?
I don't know.
Yes.
That I
Yeah,
think
Yeah,
that was
that's what he
the
said.
price
Yeah,
range, right?
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
She has done more in her career, hell, double in her career than Katie Lou has done. And Katie Lou will be making $80,000 more than Diamond. That is crazy to me.
Hell, Ray Burrell's get more than Diamond.
That
And
is
that's
crazy to me.
and that's also how teams handicap themselves when we get to
Chicago.
free agency. And it's like, why can't my team get this player? Because they don't have any money because they're spending 180K for an unproven talent. Like, does she have potential? Sure, but she hasn't done anything yet to get 180K. Like,
200 plus for Marina.
does Ray Burrell have potential? Sure. But just because you can give her 100 and whatever you gave her, that don't mean you should.
Mm-hmm.
What's up with Zaya? Has she gotten what? What?
Was
She's just on her rookie contract. They don't ever really have to like re-sign or anything. It's just like they're there, and if they keep them, they keep them. If they don't, they don't. But she's still on her rookie contract, so.
And what was the loophole with Ray? Why she was eligible? Because even though I think Richard Cohen,
Yeah, he
because I
broke
guess
it.
because she kept getting cut, that allowed her to escape the rookie deal or something like that.
And just because she did, don't mean you should.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's I just
And find a damn different name to compare her to when y'all calling it out because I don't know why Ryan name needed to be mentioned. But
oh
continue. I'm
yikes,
sorry.
absolutely not. It's
Go ahead.
I guess I'm really struggling with the league because these same players get on social media and be like, "Oh man, the league is just so hard to get into. Like rookies, wait your turn, wait your turn, wait your turn." No, they really don't. They really don't need to wait their turn. GMs just need to do a better job of managing their money
Hmm.
because there's gonna be a rookie this year that busts somebody ass in training camp that won't make the Indiana Fever roster because Lynn Dunn and company saw enough worth in Erica Wheeler and Katie Lou Samuelson to pay them money that should be reserved for people that win.
And that's also why that's also why we see these rosters sometimes only end up with like 11 players instead of 12, and we don't really have 144 sometimes. It's really because of the mismanagement of money. I think there's a lot of teams that could have um 12 players on their roster, but they're only going to have 11 because of mismanaging money. I mean, Phoenix too. Like, Phoenix is going to struggle to get 11 players on their roster because they're like, not including BG, just the five big players that they have on their roster is already taking up close to $1 million in salary. It's like 992K or something like that. That is nuts if you're trying to fill the rest of the roster and get to 12. That is insane.
Indiana already has 5 guaranteed contracts on the book for this year. Kelsey, Erica, Katie Lou, Victoria, and Demiris.
That is literally fucking embarrassing.
Nasty.
And then, so you know they're going to keep those 5 unless there's a divorce that happens. They'll keep those 5. They'll still be on the books for if there is a divorce, they'll still be on the books for some of it. And then Melissa's not going anywhere. Aaliyah's not going anywhere, and I would think that Lexi Hole
Grace
is not,
Burger as well.
and Grace Berger. So right there, that's 9 players. So that leaves Timmy, who the last time I remember her playing was from Minnesota, maybe. She's done an extensive stint overseas. That's Christy Wallace, Maya Caldwell, and Victoria Saxon, and they already have the number 1 pick. So that's Caitlyn if she comes out. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting time there in Indiana when you're looking at what they already have on the books.
And the
I'm just
worst
trying to
part,
figure out what the goal is with them. Like, what is
lose,
the vision? Like,
lose,
I guess Katie Lou gives them that 3 that they
lose,
wanted.
lose. All the people on the anti-colored side of the hoops community have been trying to squint their eyes and put up highlights to tell us why that was a good deal. But these
Wait, wait,
same
wait,
people,
wait. I don't mind it. I don't think it's a bad pickup at all. The
I do.
issue comes in when they paying her all that money. If you needed a person that you know could give you a shot, stretch the floor, positive presence, cool. My issue comes in when you start paying her all that money because that's too much. But as far as her being on the team to stretch the defense, somebody who can shoot the ball consistently, I don't mind that. But
So
the
you,
money is the issue.
I guess my issue is you already have Lexi Hall to do the exact same thing.
But Lexi Hole hasn't really been doing that. Right now, Lexi is just a defensive player. So yes,
And
that's what Lexi Hole is supposed to do, but that's not what she does.
oh,
To
so
me,
what?
they brought
When
in
is
what they thought that what Victoria should have been.
but when is
Bingo. That's what I
but
think.
when
I
is
think it's a Victoria. That's what I think
wh-
it would be.
but when is Katie Lou played enough or long enough or done enough Like,
For
sure,
the money.
yay.
Right.
I just remember the bubble. Like I really enjoyed her in the
Katie
bubble.
Lou
It
can
was
shoot.
her.
I don't even
Yeah, it
remember the
was her,
bubble.
Bella,
That motherfucker
like
can
the
shoot.
lineup was her, Bella, Ty, Leash, and Satu, I guess, in the bubble. I really enjoyed them. And like she would be four, they would split sometimes she would get a five depending on matchup. But that's also 4 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just so frustrating because to me, like, it speaks to an issue with growth in the league. Like, you cannot do something like that in the WNBA right now. Like,
Wait, this is her fifth team in like 5, 6 years?
this that Seattle traded her. What, did somebody get a number one pick for Katie Lou recently?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, to me the money is the issue, not to pick up.
I guess. I see it, squint my eyes, sure. You already have handicapped your franchise with the Erica Wheeler contract, your unwillingness to move Kelsey Mitchell. And now you just picked up another player who is not a player that you're going to keep with your franchise for the future. So why do that?
A money thing.
Then to come and find out they didn't even want, like, they didn't even attempt to get Skylar. So
Like,
that
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 makes
is
it
another.
worse.
That actually that gives them, like, what's
Somebody
the
don't
lower
need a
end?
job.
You said what?
Somebody don't need a job.
Fired. Yes.
Well, maybe there's still time. There are teams out there who are trying to put some pieces together. Maybe someone from Indiana ends up in Chicago, or who else needs some people? Seattle, possibly. Maybe they trade Victoria Vivens to Seattle as
Like,
one of
to
their three.
me, Katie Lou was a perfect player. I know they ended up getting Rachel Banham, but Katie Lou in Connecticut makes perfect sense. I could make sense of it. I know what type of salary she could take there. Like, that makes perfect sense.
All right, so well, that was free agency, you all. So we're going to look and see exactly where the rest of the pending free agents sign, if
The
any, or they
sparks
decide.
stink. The sparks stink. The
Oh yeah, we
sparks
forgot
stink.
we forgot the Sparks. That's the youth movement over there. They have a lot of trade. A lot of draft picks. One would think that they'll possibly package some of those draft picks to get some players. They have the last time I checked, I think 2, 4, 8, and 24. So they have a lot there, and they have Lexi, they have Zaya, they have Ray, they have Lasia, and then Azare and Monique Billings and Dearica Hamby.
Mm.
So we're not really understanding what they're looking to do there, but with those trades, they could get. I mean, with those draft picks, they could definitely get some good pieces out of the draft this year, depending on once again who comes out. So it'll be interesting to see what Kurt and Reagan Peebly decide to do. Is there anyone that you all think is a valuable trade piece?
Not really. But I think they kind of decided their fate that they know they're just in a rebuild mode and they just not even gonna fight it. That's what I think they're doing. I don't.
Same.
Yeah, I don't think.
Because last year, before the injuries, they were a pretty decent team. There was some promise there. They could make the playoffs, but then all of those players, NECA's gone, Jordan's gone. Not sure what Sister NECA is gonna do. And so it's like, okay, well, oh, and they have area as well. So they're very small at the same time, and then it's like there's the small players, and then there's the big players, and then no in between. So it's going to be interesting to see what LA decides to do. All right. Um, Before we get to all the questions and then to some of the hot topics, any thoughts on the Olympic training camp roster, or for those that will be going over to Belgium? I think is where they are.
They shouldn't have been
I'm
talking shit on that bus.
about to say you better shut your ass.
I'm I'm just tired. I don't like I'm just I just feel like somebody needs to just cut the cord and be like, DT, no more. Like, I I think they're taking away opportunities from players that do deserve it. And that's not saying like DT still can't hoop, because we've seen games where she can score, but I just don't think that she can give what she needs to give on both sides of the ball. to be a key piece. And because Team USA is so good, it's like, who cares, right? Because even if she stinks, you can just put her on the bench, or even if people are cooking her defensively, you just put her on the bench, and it's no big deal because they'll still win. But I don't think that's fair to the other players that are capable of doing what she can do and more, just because you want DT to get a fifth medal. Like, that's not fair because you're taking opportunities away from them. Because I look at a player like NECA, who pretty much had the same thing kind of happen to her, where she was present and available every year, and then every year just passed her by because a post player was still tagging along that maybe shouldn't have been there. And then when it felt like it was time for her to make the team, you got players, these new generational players that come across, that's Asia and Stewie, and now there's no room for her anymore. And so I think at some point you're doing a disservice to those players that deserve to be there.
And you can't even use the like veteran excuse because for this upcoming Olympics, the majority of the roster will be returners. BG has done a couple Olympics at this point now. Like you can't even say, oh, like if the game gets close, we need her. Like that's what the fucking coach is for. These are professional athletes at the highest level. It's okay to say no and move on, but the hoops community is committed to legacy building for white women who continue to take up space that they no longer should have access to. But we would rather tell black women like Candace and NECA, oh, like, not this year when they're still very much in their primes, and continue to allow Diana to hitch her wagon to the Team USA train because of her legacy rather than how she's playing. This lady has not played a full WNBA season in 3+ years, hasn't put up her 2012, 14, 15, 16 stats in that same amount of time consistently, and she is still taking up another spot on the Team USA roster. And as much as all these people on Twitter love to claim that they're Caitlyn stands and Paige stands, y'all should actually be the ones more upset at DT's still making the roster because these are the players that we're going to need to be on Team USA at the LA Olympics. And if they can't get any experience playing with the national team because they got to sit behind wire hangers, like the system is doing these players a disservice because we don't got no fucking true point guard on the team outside of Chelsea.
None. Literally, we have none.
Well, I just don't think if you showed me the practice footage, there's no way in hell that you telling me that everybody that showed up, DT was the best, whatever, how many of the people that was there. Of the wings, please. I don't believe it.
Like, you left off Lainey, Leash, and Enrique, and you're telling me that none of those three could do anything with DT? All right. Yeah. Okay.
And I'm telling you, nothing's going to change with the Team US system until players start to say, fuck this shit. I got a cousin that was born in England three generations apart from me. I'm going to get my citizenship, and they get enough players to beat Team USA at one of these local um championships or in an Olympic pool. And then they gonna say, "Oh shit! Like we actually need to develop." It happens like that every single time.
I
You get,
honestly think it could be Nigeria.
and I would love it.
Like when you look at the people, the players that have the roots from Nigeria, like they could put together a pretty solid team.
Honestly, I mean, shit, was the last Olympics not enough? Like, dead ass. Like,
Like
waking
was it
up
Japan who
at
almost
2
ran them out of there?
a.m. to watch Team USA struggle. Like, thank God for BG, Stewie, and Asia, because wasn't nobody else doing anything. They had Sue was like turning the ball over, couldn't defend nobody. Japan ass was lighting Team USA up because Sue couldn't defend, DT couldn't defend. Like, bruh.
And to be honest, never mind. That's not that. I don't want to be considered not a patriot. If they get caught slipping, at least it ain't on Dawn's on the Dawn's tenure.
Yeah, like I said, I ultimately think it's going to take the team losing, similar to the U20 team, for them to really consider making changes to the selection process. Hopefully, it doesn't come at the expense of somebody like Stewie or Asia, but at this point, I'm tired of it, and something needs to change.
All right. Before we wrap up, we have a few things in regards to some hot topics that went on this week. The Pivot podcast with Maga Porter Jr.'s comments, then Cheryl Swoops, as well as a conversation around what is a bust or not within the WNBA. So, who wants to go first on those?
Am I the drama?
I was waiting. I didn't want to call your name.
I have a few things, just in a few thoughts. I think if I trusted that Ryan Clark and Michael Porter Jr. watched or cared about the W, I would not have cared so much about their comments. Because I want to be very clear when I say this. I am not one of those people that doesn't think people should talk negatively about the WNBA or about sports in general. I think it's a part of the growth of the sport, and I think it's essential to being honest about what's happening. My issue with what took place on the Pivot podcast was the fact that none of it was actually true. And for a, a black man who claims to have a podcast that pivots the conversation to come on Twitter after a large portion of the WNBA community told him what was wrong with the podcast respectfully, what could have been better. He chose to say, well, a few months ago, I took up for Angel Reese, confirmed we already know. These men and these ESPN people don't give a flying fuck about women's sports. They only consume the sport to meet the quota because that's what is in rage right now. They only understand race as it pertains to black men and not the disenfranchisement of black women. They would rather see other men sweat and go 2 for 25 and walk every time they play and not play defense than to watch actual solid hoops at the collegiate and professional level. And they will continue to reinforce each other as men. And that was my issue with it. And I felt like I needed to call him out. And that's what I did. It is what it is.
Anyone else?
I just think he's stupid. So there's that.
His backsliding
Yeah.
off the bone, so I just think there's more pressing things for him to be
Shay.
worried about.
Wait, what'd you say?
I'm not gonna repeat it. That was unchristian. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm just tired of the conversation about the dunking. I think it's disingenuous. Like, they don't care whether them girls dunk. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. Like, we just saw Ashlyn dunk in a game, and the comments were a high school a boy player can do that. That was just one hand. Can she do it with two? There was no defense around, or why did the other girl slow down on defense? That dunk wasn't really that impressive. Like, it's like, when can she do a windmill? What about 360? Like, they don't care. The goalpost is always going to move. The girls can start dunking and they gonna be like, well, can she do a 360? If you don't want to watch, just don't watch. Like, I don't really care for baseball. I don't talk about it. I don't watch it. And it does like it literally has nothing to do with my day. I don't like drag it. I don't really care. And I just don't understand why people can't do that for the WNBA and women's basketball in general. If you don't rock with it, you don't rock with it. Period. You don't have
And
to
they
talk
are
about it.
two different sports. Like, I don't know why everybody gets so sensitive about it, but women's basketball and men's basketball are two different sports. The sport of basketball, yes, holds the same name, but they play different games, and that is okay. And I
Mhm.
appreciate the differences in that. Trying to, like, if you don't watch the women's game now, them playing more like men isn't going to make you watch them then. Because if they play more like men, you're still going to say the men are better. Nothing they can do will change how you feel about them. So this rage that everybody has, oh God, we need to get more men and girl dad unity and men support women's sports. Like that's not the community we need to reach out to. Fuck Ryan Clark and fuck the Republican Michael Porter. Like fuck all them. Like that is not the people we need to spend our energy or time asking to respect or validate the league. If they don't respect them, we can cuss them out, try to say what we need to say, and move the fuck on. But if they don't want to watch these women play regularly, don't. Because at the end of the day, when these women get put on the TV and they get promoted and they get marketed equitably and equally in comparison to the men, the people do watch. The numbers are the numbers. When all is equal, the girls' game can hold serve to anybody. When marketed fairly and put up and respected and given the same opportunity to be on major network TV, the shit is must see TV. Angel, Caitlyn, Juju, Paige are bigger names than any male in college right now. Period.
Now, why are you talking about Zach Edey?
Ain't nobody want to see that.
I genuinely don't even know who that is. Genuinely, I got no clue.
Point, point exactly.
Like, I'm finna Google him right now.
And if we being the most honest, once LeBron retires, we not gonna, just
And
because
this
I
is honestly why I get so annoyed
Oh,
when the
that's who that is.
WNBA account centers men and the NBA players when they come to the games. Like, I don't care that they there. Like, I really can give a rat's ass if they sitting there. Like, you be showing me all these NBA players there, and you don't even show me the WNBA players that be there. Like you doing your league a disservice trying to prove a point. Like, look, NBA players watch us, so we have to be good. No, let your product stand on its own. Like your product is good enough to where you don't need the approval of LeBron and KD to tweet and be like, oh, these girls hooping, y'all should watch. Like, no, y'all are good enough. Like your product is good enough. You do not need them to promote you.
Because they're going to only talk about Sabrina. Not LeBron. LeBron going, shout out to Asia. Any other comments on that before we go to the next hot topic?
he can go to hell too, because that little shit he tried to pull today with that kiki about Kelsey. Oh, stupid. Mm. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. I can't.
Okay, so over the past week, there was quite the overreaction to the comments made by the legendary, immaculate goat Cheryl Swoops. Now, what do you think that it was just overblown? We always have these conversations about, at the end, Dolores, you mentioned it earlier, in regards to not being able to really say or critique anything about Caitlyn, because all hell just breaks loose. So, do you feel like that entire situation, even though there were some things that were probably misstated, in her conversation, but everything else that she said were facts? Do you think that it was just blown out of proportion?
I think Lo has the best take on this situation in comparison, so I'm gonna let her take it. But yes,
For me, I don't think so. The original clip that went viral was her just saying that she didn't think that First, she said Kayla and Angel because the same clip had been circulated twice. A couple of months ago, it's focused on Angel though. When she just kind of said they'll be fine, but it's gonna take them a while. They don't come in dominating. That's what the original clip said.
Mhm.
Originally, that's why everybody was up in arms. They was mad, calling her everything but a child of God, doing this, that, and the third. Right, right. Then after that, they went digging to go find the whole clip, and now we're pulling out. Well, she spreading misinformation. She said this. She said she said that, and she was wrong. She was very wrong when she said she was took 40 shots or how old she was definitely wrong, right? But that wasn't the original problem. People were calling her out of her name and saying all these things about her before it even got there. So now when everybody's trying to act like, well, we just don't want her to be wrong, that's disingenuous. Yes, she could be right. So yes, at the end of the day, yes, you're correct. She does need to be right on those things, right? But it's disingenuous because that's not why everybody went up in arms in the first place. You went up in arms because she said what she said and you didn't agree with it. And that's what I don't like. Like y'all don't like it's just not honest. You know what I mean? I don't rock with that. Next, it's ironic because at the same time we had this thing on this we having this conversation while we having this other thing unfold with Diamond and Dolores. And the whole time Dolores says, well, I think Diamond is a bust, this and the third. And if we call a spade, regardless of her injury, when she came in the league, she wasn't exactly she was hyped up to be. They telling us the Diamond and Shields is the second coming of Jordan. Diamond gonna do this, her athleticism do this, and la da da da, this, that, and the third, right? We had these high expectations for you, and now somebody is labeling you as a bust because you didn't meet those high expectations. So y'all don't even realize that the whole time that this conversation is unfolding, it's like directly contradicting a lot of y'all's takes on this side. Let Caitlyn have a chance to grow. It's okay to say it's gonna take a couple of years because if we say, okay, Caitlyn, it's gonna take a couple of years for her to figure it out, if she come in and she show the fuck out, damn girl, you did that. And if it take a couple of years, then that's cool too. Get a girl some grace to grow into the league. They finna be coming in here playing with grown ass women. Like, let's get a lady some time. I just don't know why that's such a controversial take. You don't want regular people on Twitter saying nothing. You don't want legends on Twitter saying anything. It's exhausting. Like, do you want people to talk about the league or do you not? You know what I mean? It's just exhausting. And if everybody would just shut the hell up sometimes and just listen to understand as opposed to listen to argue and having this weird ass fake beef with people that you'll never meet because that's the weirdest shit ever. Y'all got beef with people on the internet that don't even know. It's weird. Get a life. If everybody would just sit down and shut up and listen, then maybe we can get to the bottom of this. Maybe you could see how the conversations correlate. Just shut up and listen. For once, it's exhausting. You can't say nothing on this app. You can't do nothing on this app. It's just so insufferable. I'm over it. I'm over it. I truly am. I really
Mm.
am.
Yeah, I think piggybacking on Lowe's point, it's what is frustrating about all of this is that these very same people get upset when WNBA players call out bias as it relates to favorable treatment toward Sabrina after she has not won anything as a pro. Coming out of college, everyone said she was going to be the next GOAT in the WNBA because of how good she was in college, right? 5 games into her WNBA career, we were already having bust conversations because she did not live up to the hype, right? So I'm just connect all these dots. The reason I said what I said about Diamond was because in my eyes, looking at her career from high school through college and the way that she was talked about, she was supposed to be the best guard in the league since Maya Moore. Period. Like that's how I viewed her. That's how I know a lot of people viewed her. That was the hype. That was the ceiling. So even in her first 2 years, she had solid years on paper, right? For me, that was her floor. Like Anything less than that is not enough. Like all WNBA for a player like her is the expectation. That's not some whoop-de-doo type of thing. So her getting injured, of course, impacted her ability to go further than that. But me calling her a bust was not this character assassination that people want it to be. Because in sports, men and women, any sport, when a top draft pick does not do certain things that match their height, we call them a bust. And we can still acknowledge, damn, they've been injured most of their careers. They had this happen to them. Maybe they've been traded a few times. We don't mind having those conversations because in sport, that is that's a part of growing the game. Your Greg Odens on the MNBA side. Your Zion Williams. Hell, even Elena Coates from the University of South Carolina was a top two, top three draft pick. Now, no, she didn't have Diamond Shield's stats, but in terms of hype and in terms of where she was drafted, yes, she would fall into the bust category. That doesn't mean I think she's a bad player. That doesn't mean I think she's a bad person. But I think when we talk about that just purely from a sports standpoint, she falls in that category for me, right? So then I move to Caitlyn. Caitlyn is end up being the best scorer in collegiate history. Up until this point in her college career, she has not won a title. But everyone that talks about her like she is the greatest hooper that ever lived. So if she goes in the WNBA and doesn't live up to the hype, you know what I'm gonna call her? A bust. And I'm not gonna be on the TL copping please. Oh well, she just played for a bad team and the W is too physical for her and like oh man, she just like needs another superstar beside her. I don't want no please. I don't want nobody making excuses because y'all made the hype. Y'all told us we couldn't say nothing negative about the girl. Y'all told us she scored 41 against the best defensive team in history. So if she wants to score 50 whenever she wants to, she will. Y'all's white WNBA woman said she's going to go into the WNBA and have MVP stats. Those 144 one band 144 sound women are going to make it their personal mission to bust her ass every night, and y'all are on here telling me that the MVP Asia Wilson is gonna let Caitlin Clark's frail ass come to the WNBA and just snatch MVP like she Candace Parker? Have you lost your rabbit ass mind? So no, like no, like Lo just said, allow people to be critical. Allow people to provide space for criticism that ends up allowing those players grace so that if they do have an off game, if they don't live up to all of the hype, there is still room to discuss them being a good player. But when you give these players all this hype, you compare them to the men, you want them to be the best thing since Jesus. Don't be mad when people talk shit.
And in addition, I don't rock with Sabrina. Not my cup of tea at all. But I feel like that has hurt Sabrina. Y'all, her being so hyped up when she came in and essentially laying an egg. Is she okay? Yes. She's had an injury. She kind of caught a stride this year. She was kind of up and down. So is she okay? Sure. But compared to what she's hyped up to be, she's just not there
Busted.
yet. Right. She's not there. But the thing is, if it was when she was coming into the league, if it was maybe she'll get there eventually, da 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 da. Maybe she wouldn't get so much vitriol towards her either. Maybe she wouldn't. You wouldn't have people saying, "Oh, she's not that good. She's not that good. She's not that good." Because is she doing decent? Sure. But compared to what she was supposed to be and the woman that she's supposed to be in the league, she's not there. So just watch, and if we can have a real conversation and it's not hate, then we can understand like that's what we're trying to say. Like, give the girl some grace.
And
Because
the same
go
thing on the collegiate side, Lo. Like before Paige Beckers got into the college game, every UConn fan on this app was licking their chops. Oh, baby, we got another player coming in to give us 4 titles. She's about to give us Stewie, DT, all had a lesbian baby, and it's Paige Beckers. She is that girl. No
Now,
one
why
can
would
touch
your
her.
ass?
We it's Paige Beckers. And every single year since she's been a rookie, it's been nothing but excuses, 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 excuses. That if you allow grace, if you allow people to say critical comments and didn't put your foot up your ass so high that the shit was sticking through your mouth, we might be able to celebrate how fucking good she is. But when you tell me she's gonna be better than Stewie and DT, I don't want no pleas. I don't want no excuses. I don't want no injury, nothing. I want winning. I want victory. I want 4 national championships. I want 4 consecutive National Player of the Years because that's the hype that you put on her. And also, a part of the issue is that some of y'all are so fucking racist and refuse to see how race correlates to hype and projection that y'all don't understand that y'all hyped up Sabrina so much that this woman got a shoe and hasn't done nothing in her entire career but make some threes in an open gym with 300 people there, and that's her biggest career accomplishment. And y'all telling me that we are the problem for addressing that her whiteness and her proximity to a black man is the reason that she's got the hype. Because nothing she's done as a professional has correlated to ever doing anything that would deserve a shoe. If Stewie couldn't get a shoe after winning 4 titles at UConn, this woman most certainly didn't deserve one after going to Oregon. And let me round this off by saying, Taylor J, you and the black men that you sleep with, please stay out of my quotes because I can't see them. So unless you can send that shit directly to me, don't speak to me by proxy. Don't speak to me by quote. Don't speak to me through your uterus. Don't speak to me through no shit but
Dolores.
my DMs. Stay out of my face. Stay out of my quotes. Period. And if you send this to her, y'all can go to hell with her. I said what I said.
Oh, God.
Well,
Not the uterus. Well,
well then.
I just
I
wanted to. Oh, go ahead, B.
no, go ahead, Shay.
Oh no, I was just gonna add that if y'all wasn't so desperate to try to crown a white savior when you see black folks taking this shit over, you wouldn't have all of these overhyped problems in the first goddamn place. All y'all want to do is sit around and tell, well, this person's ganging up, so we got to have Caitlyn's got to be the next best thing. And then Juju scored 41, and this, well, can she score 52? Can she score 53? Like, if y'all wasn't so goddamn racist, like the Lord said, you wouldn't have this problem. But y'all need white people to be the face of this league, and that's y'all's goddamn problem. Y'all just want white women to be the stars and the end all to be all, and it ain't gonna be that.
And it just, I mean, this season just showed how y'all hyped up one white woman and she shit the bed in the finals because y'all hyped her up so much and the shit didn't work.
Ah,
Mm.
I remember everybody taking pride in blocking them shots. You remember that year when Walt tried to have so many game winners for Sabrina, and the likes of Alicia and Brittany Sykes and all of them took pride in sending her shit home. That's what's going to happen next season. Whenever Caitlyn decides, I mean, I say Caitlyn, Lord. Whenever I don't combine the two. Caitlyn decides to come to the league. So before we wrap up and let a couple of you all have raised your
Wait,
hands,
I would like to answer this person's question, although they didn't direct it to us, but um, the confusion on how players answer for media hype. I don't think players answer for it, but I'm damn sure gonna address it if they don't live up to the hype. That's a part of it, right? Like you ain't gotta answer for the hype that's being directed towards you, but if you don't live up to that shit, just know that people are going to address it. And so don't get in your feelings when they do, because you don't say anything when you get this unwarranted hype, when you get shoes that you don't deserve, or NBA 2K covers that you don't deserve, or an MVP that you don't deserve, or a National Player of the Year that you don't deserve. Like, don't nobody question that shit. So if you ain't getting in your feelings about that shit, then don't get in your feelings when we talk shit about you not living up to
They
that.
don't have no problems talking shit about the MNBA players that are overhyped. I can pull up. the majority of these players' accounts, if it ain't NBA, it's college players. These players are not some docile mute. I just hoop and go about my business people. These players have critical opinions. They talk shit in the locker room. They talk shit on the court. Period. Right? So if Jokic, or however you pronounce that man's name, goes out and lays the egg, they might have something to say on the TL. And if one of the WNBA players says, "Man, Trey Young, man, he just small." You know, the same question, the conversation we had about the LeBrunson dude in New York not winning a title, right? The same way W players and W coaches can have critical takes about men, WNBA fans, WNBA commentators, WNBA reporters should be able to have the same conversations about the women. It doesn't mean it's personal. It doesn't mean the players have to do something, drop 45 and prove us wrong. No. But we have to be able to discuss the sport in positive, critical, and negative ways. Like the rainbows and sunshine, cut that shit.
Any other thoughts? All right,
Team
last on the
Skylar.
list,
And
Skylar Diggins.
also, don't be liking no shit because you can't say it to my face. Y'all some weak, old, no backbone, having I don't like you, but I'm not gonna tell you. Oop, I unfollowed you. See my subtweeting ass people, and y'all are weak. Like it's Twitter. Like be the most for real that you can
That's not
possibly
it.
be.
This is Twitter.
Shit, y'all so oh god and oh
B, are you crying?
No, because I'm thinking about the other night. I'm thinking about what possibly prompted Dolores to say that during the awards. Shout out to Beyonce. Um, but
Oh,
Skylar
oh, oh,
Diggins,
oh, oh.
huh?
Oh, nothing. I just put two and two together. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So Skylar Diggins had a lot to say about her time with the Mercury, with her coach, Steve Kerr's twin. Um, and Tina Charles didn't offer a lot of insight, but she put up the, I guess, I don't know if that was supposed to be a tea or if the tea was so good the girl had to switch to a Pepsi, but she put up popcorn and a soda cup or something. So what do you think about Skylar and basically airing it out? I think some of the comments have since been deleted.
Oh Lord,
Um,
why she delete them?
I
I told y'all.
I knew, yeah.
I think it's interesting. That because we could all tell something was going on with the first of all that with that girl leaving the training camp and then Skylar, then Tina. We could all tell something was going on. It was very obvious, and we spoke about it. Um, so for her finally getting to air it out or getting, just to say how she felt is, I mean, I guess cool for her. It is interesting to kind of see the difference in how it's received. Have guest media members have decided that Skylar is, I don't want to say not trustworthy or quote unquote an issue or something, but it doesn't seem like it seems like they take everything she says with a grain of salt or they have no validity in it. Because I mean, some of the stuff she was tweeting about was besides like basketball shit, like that shit was racist. Like, and the fact that nobody jumped or wanted to write a story or wanted to, whatever. Maybe I guess because the coach is gone now, but just the staunch difference in how it's handled between other situations. It's just interesting. And interesting is like not the word that I'm looking for, but
Anyone else?
But
Robert told me to shut up for the rest of the night.
I'm Team Skylar all the way. I'm glad she aired it out, and I think the reason why there's a difference in how people receive it is simply something that Dolores mentioned during his rant, and how there's people don't want to, a lot of these writers don't want to put a stain on certain people's legacies.
Yeah.
They don't mind writing an article that could ruin a black player's legacy, versus like they don't mind questioning Candace and saying, hey, why did this happen, even though it happened before you were even on the team and you probably have no idea about anything that's going on, but we're still going to put this on you. I'm no longer going to respect Candace because of a situation that happened before her. And then when it comes to DT, here's a situation that includes her, but no one's going to write an article on it. No one's going to follow up on it. No one's going to do anything because it's DT.
Yeah.
No one's gonna try to put a stain on her legacy, especially because this could possibly be her last season. Oh, this isn't even like what Skylar said is probably going to be brushed under a rug, and they are going to try their damnedest not to talk about it. Because if this is DT's last season, they are not going to let this be the story of her last season.
I also think it's like they don't they don't want to even have to fathom that, because if that woman felt comfortable saying those things happen. I mean, Diamond alluded to it as well. Tina has alluded to it. Then that's a toxic culture. And I know we say things about whatever. I'm not even gonna go there. That's a toxic culture, and I don't think they want to admit that DT could possibly be a part of the toxic culture. And they, yeah, like you said, I don't think that's a conversation that they're willing to even allow themselves to even think about or even fathom.
Didn't Kelsey Bones say the same thing?
Oh yeah,
Yep,
Kelsey Bones,
sure did.
and it's just crazy because you know what I mean. Like I got biases, and I don't have a problem admitting that. But if that's just like, come on now, like that's piss poor. That's enough. Like where there's smoke, there's fire, and they were very quick to jump on the Vegas thing. And I'm not saying they shouldn't have. Do your story, whatever the hell you think you need to do, but in the same vein, this is something that we've had a plethora of. Even Devereaux,
I was about to say, I was just
yeah,
Googled to make sure she played there. Devereaux Peters
yeah,
also
they've
said the
all
same thing.
hinted at something not right, and nobody has even said, "Well, let's do this." And that to me, that's negligence.
And all of these people didn't play under Vanessa, so it's not just Vanessa. Who's the common denominator?
Right. I just think it's negligence. And even if you don't get anything of it, I think it's at least worth posing the question, because we pose questions for everything else. It's fine, so do that.
I hope Skylar burns that franchise to the fucking ground. I hope they play in the playoffs, and I hope she gives them 50 every fucking night. They thanked Pancake. Did I see a thank you graphic for Skylar? I don't recall. And if I did, and if I missed it, please send it to me. But I don't know if I saw one. And my issue, and I've seen a whole bunch of people in my mentions talking about, well, because I asked why are people going to Phoenix. First of all, if I ask why black women are doing something, if you are not a black woman, you should shut the fuck up. I'm not talking to you, dog face Twitter, and you long chin motherfucking white person. I'm not talking to you. I am asking the black community. You are not a part of that. Second, Street Fighter Sweeper, whatever the fuck your name is, and that's why Skylar cleared your ass, because you talking about, well, she didn't handle it well, but I don't know the story. How you don't know the fucking story, but you know that she didn't handle it well? You just be on the internet just fucking talking, and that's why she cleared your ass. So I hope that whoever was on the back of that bus by the bathroom giggling and kikiing and got ratted on, I hope that your karma is as nasty as it deserves to be. And I hope she continue to clear it out. I hope she keep talking. I don't really know what else to say.
Well, if there's no questions, I don't see any hands raised or anything down below.
It's somebody um child. Somebody trying to get on stage. I think she got a question.
Oh, let's see.
I think. You don't see it? Or I'm tripping?
There we go.
Okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't tripping.
I clicked it. Did it go through? Little Miss Polite. Oh, sorry, Little Miss Politics. I ain't clicked the whole name. You
What did you just say, man?
I thought it said Little Miss Polite. I clicked it. I clicked it, so it's
I
not.
did too. I don't know what's going on. It's not. Maybe she. I don't know. Maybe she changed her mind.
If there are any other questions, no questions. Okay.
All right,
Well,
don't be talking no shit in them chats. Thank you.
Oh yeah, sorry. Can I follow up on that? I don't. Other thing I don't like is when y'all asses get to passing shit around and oh well they said this 3 days ago at 3:54 p.m. and we didn't say nothing. The stage is open. Get your ass. It's y'all. Everybody has something to say on Twitter today. Get your. The stage is open. Bring your ass on here and say what you got to say. Don't message people. Don't go behind nobody back. The stage is open.
Why it's not working? Oh, it's connecting. It's connecting. It's connecting. I think so. I hope it worked. I've been
yeah,
trying.
it's spinning for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh God.
Uh.
Last thing for me, I said I wasn't gonna say that else. But when it's an A and B conversation, because the WNBA player respects us enough to speak with us, they were not talking to you. That is not your opportunity to jump into my quotes or that player's quotes to wave and say, "Look at me, I love you, I support you, talk to me, see me, value me, love me, support me." Get your man to do it. Talk to Jesus about it. Ask a family friend to do it. Just because you're a fan on social media doesn't mean they give a flying fuck about you. Sorry, your opinion's not important. Mine
And
was. She
also,
responded to me.
earlier when I was saying BBW, why ain't nobody told me it was WBB?
Well, why do we have to tell you that?
Cause I thought it was the.
The church say WBB.
I don't know why. I maybe I was a dyslexic bookie too. So it is WBB. Wide back bigs, not. Is it wide back bigs or wide body bigs?
Good night. Wrap it up.
Well, everybody, we thank y'all for tuning in today. The doors
Tune
of the
into
church are open,
Asia's
but they're not closed. What'd you say, Forrest?
Tune into Asia tonight. She should be coming on very soon. If you have not purchased her book, Dear Black Girls, go purchase it. If you're not a Dear Black Girl, go do your work that you were supposed to do in 2020 when we told y'all to read these books about social justice. This is your gift to the Black community if you are not Black. Thank you, or go donate it to some Black girls in your community. Also, we will be winding down this week, so grab your wine and put them panties down because we're winding down. Also, we'll be on playback this week. So play that shit back, call, phone a friend, and turn up with us. Amen today. Love y'all. Thank you. If I hurt your feelings on this basis, you can DM me and tell me. If I said something politically incorrect, you can also DM me and tell me, or tell me on the TL. Love you. Mean it. Bye and good night.
And if you need something harder than wine, get some liquor. Bye.